Hey, yo, what's up? It's your boy, sir, of the 2020 Podcast, LLC. Please say the LLC. And before you listen to this episode, I just got to let you know, I need you to stop what you're doing. Go to blkrenaissance.com, and I need you to shop for the culture. That's right. Anytime you use the promo code LLC20 at Black Renaissance Clothing's website, you will get 20% off your order. Off rip, no questions asked. So do me a favor and do it for the culture. Peace.
Hey, this is KJ, and I have a question for you. When was the last time you got something nice for yourself? That's what I thought. So why not visit www.theblurredsyndicate.com and get something that will help you express who you really are. They've got shirts, mugs, purses, mouse pads, and even aprons for the grillers of the family. So, if you're a fan of anime, pro wrestling, or hell, even the Golden Girls, the Blurred Syndicate has got you covered. Also, if you use the code LLC20 at checkout, you'll get 20% off your order. So what are you waiting on? I got mine. Come get yours. And remember to join the BS.
Hi guys, it's Mr. I'm Just Being Honest, host of the Truth Serum podcast for the people. You can find me on Spotify, Anchor, and Buzzsprout. More networks coming soon. Happy listening.
The self-destruct sequence has been activated. Repeat, the self-destruct sequence has been activated. This sequence may not be aborted. All employees proceed to the emergency car at the bottom platform.
Okay, we lit it just like a fuse, so no need to pick and choose. Welcome to 2020, where we do more than interviews. The hottest be coming through, jumping knowledge on all that you get. A peek at the front of you with the truth that they offer you. Yeah, hands up, we doing it for the culture. To give artists and businesses more exposure. Keeping it real and stay silent just like a boulder. It's about to go all the way down, can't get no lower. Chasing my dreams, know that they get no slower. But if I stay running, I promise they getting closer. Moreover, success my older. And if you're sleeping on me, I'm waking them up like Folgers. I told you, coming from the land with the tide roll. Well, we'll be on a whole different vibe though. We like to ride slow and keep our windows tinted so you really can see us like Stevie Wonder waking up with his eyes closed. Yeah, got the kind of flow that rock the boat. On my 16s of pounds of dope. And if you figure you can hang with me on the mic, then grab some rope. Matter of fact, better grab some hope while you at it. We keep it live, it's time to tune in. Turn up the sound on what you're using. It goes so hard, I think it's bruising. The show is 2020, no need to zoom in. Yeah.
I am out. If you haven't noticed yet, that's me.
Look, I could deal with out there, but just give me a sign that you about to say something wild. That way I could timestamp it. You know what I'm saying? Or like just be ready for it. Man, I got you.
I feel you. I just like, I don't know. Society is in a box, so I have a lot to say about society in the box they in, and I do not operate on a regular frequency or mentality of most of society. So a lot of things that people think out there, I don't look at it out there. You know, I look at it as like, okay, is it facts or no? That's the first thing. A lot of times people say who are celebrities are facts. We just not a part, or we're not privy to that knowledge and that information because we not famous. We're not in that lifestyle. We're not in that position. So, you know, I am one of those, though. I try to just be lucky, though. Obviously, you know, I let people frequency catch the energy type vibe. But if people ask me to talk, then we can get real deep. It just depends on what direction you want to go.
I like that. It puts me in the mind of like I'm sure you heard of Dante's Inferno. You know, like Virgil, he was like the guide. It was like, I could talk about everything. Just tell me what you're trying to see, and I'm gonna show it to you. We're gonna discuss it. So
Yeah.
I understand that. I like that kind of vibe.
Yeah. I don't watch TV. Put it like that. Don't watch TV. I don't have no favorite series. I don't have no. So I'm definitely not in the Matrix per se. Like I disconnected.
I'm very much in the matrix when it comes to certain shows. I ain't even finna
Yeah.
lie. I ain't even finna cap with you.
I
It's
know you're
certain
in the
shows that
matrix.
got me. You know what I'm saying? It's certain stuff that got me. Like um grew up watching Fresh Prince of Bel Air. You
Yeah.
know, that was one of
Yeah.
my favorite shows growing up, and hearing that it got rebooted to a
Hmm.
serious drama, I was interested. And I'm a stickler for great acting. I
Yeah.
coming from somebody who's done filmmaking in high school and
Yeah.
did a quarter of drama. I love to get lost in the sauce when somebody's in their element,
I feel that.
you know.
I
And
definitely feel that.
the moment you make me suspend belief, you know, in what I'm watching, I
Hmm.
won't say I'm addicted to that, but I love that. And I love that in all facets, I'll say. Not just acting, I love it even in comedy. I love it even in music. I love it in, even if you're a sports player, when I see that you're in the zone, I'm like, yeah, yeah, watch look at them go off. Like, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Like, I like to see talent displayed, you know.
EA Sports is in the game.
Right.
Took
They
you back.
don't.
Took you back. I took you back a little bit right there.
You know what I'm saying? I heard the PlayStation start up and everything just now. Shoot. Let me rub this disc with some alcohol, man. Make sure it play. Shoot. But yeah, man,
That's
that's
hilarious.
that's me. So, but just to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit.
Hmm.
Whenever I interview someone, I always go back and I don't like to call it snooping, but it is snooping. I go and
Yeah.
see what people do.
Yeah.
And something I found interesting with you
Hmm.
is Mother's Kitchen.
Hmm.
I got all the vibes of tiny desk concerts at home, chilling, practicing right there in the comfort of your own zone. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would pay. I'm so not kidding. I would pay to sit in one of those sessions and just listen to y'all vibe.
Yo, that's crazy because and thank you. I have to say thank you first because I was kind of nervous about stepping into that this year past year and
Mhm.
doing live, like actually recording anything, these sessions. But I've been doing this for a long time. Like it's actually something that's natural to me. And that knows me 15, 20 years ago knows that I've always had like artists and musicians in my personal space. I'm like the musician's therapist almost. It's like, hey,
Mm.
I need to go and talk to the Mother Color. You know what I'm saying? I need to go. They call me the Oracle. A lot of my friends say that they say that I'm the Oracle. So, but I didn't even know what the Oracle was until like maybe 3 years ago when I watched The Matrix for the first time.
Mm.
And I actually haven't watched all of them, but I watched the first couple of them. That's all my attention span could allot me. And I was like, oh, it makes sense. It's actually what I think everything is, right? It's how I see things anyway. And so yeah, doing those sessions has been like therapy. I recognize it was therapy for artists and musicians that come through. They just sometimes I get a call or a text message is like, you know what you got going on? And they just want to come by the house and sit and talk and connect with me. Vibe.
Mm.
You know, sometimes they bring, you know, food and they bring gifts. People come like bringing herbs, like incense, and it's just beautiful. It's
Yeah.
like actually a thing. So anywhere I go, I kind of try to create like a safe space. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Something that's safe that other people can feel connected to. So, um, I actually pulled together my first band in Pensacola like maybe 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago when I first moved to Pensacola. And the goal over time became I want to do a tiny disc,
Oh,
right?
okay, okay.
So like The second band I pulled together was like that band. It was like, okay, we're gonna do a tiny desk with this band. I wanted, a tiny desk, and I wanted to tour. And over time, it just was like a cultivation. And some musicians went the other direction. Some decided that they don't want to do music full time. Like I have musicians. My pianist showed up in Mobile, and he was in one of the live sessions, Dawson, but he doesn't play for anybody else, and he doesn't play live. He will only come to my space to play.
Wow.
And I have this like relationship with a lot of the musicians and artists in this area and just around the globe, really, that have that type of relationship with me. So
Hey yo, so this is Sir. So real quick editor's note. Around here we dropped audio because internet be interneting. So let's just act like this part and the next part just transitions smoothly. All right, peace.
So all right. So take 3. So we got this dope pianist. All right.
yes, Dawson Rodriguez. Uh he pulled up on me at the show in Mobile, like I was saying, and what the heck?
I can still hear you just fine.
Oh,
I
okay.
know your video went out, but I can still hear you. There you go.
It just like shout out on me. He's a great pianist. His favorite bands like Zapp and Roger. He's a ginger, but he got some soul, but him, Jason, who's known as Delta 5, that's my lead guitarist for the Flesh the Clay, and then Jody Joe plays bass. And the videos you probably were making reference to were actual a whim. Like I literally text and hit up all of those guys the day before, or maybe a day or two before, to see if they were free that day, so that we can go ahead and just record some live versions of my songs. And they showed up, and that was literally the first time all of them played together.
Wow. It did not sound like it.
Yeah, it's just the cultivation. Like most of them are fans of my music already. Like they like my music, they connect with it, and they just be waiting on a phone call. Really, it's a healing experience. Usually, when I connect with other artists, I don't have any intent other than connecting, like truly connecting, and us releasing whatever we got going on. Like to pass on that energy, real true conductivity of art, of spirit. If spirit ain't attached to it, I really don't want nothing to do with it.
I feel that heavily. Okay. So you've been doing music, since the 7th grade. That was the first band. Now,
oh no, I've been doing music since I was 4.
Oh geez. Oh wow.
I've actually been doing music going on 34 years. Actually, I started playing drums when I was 4 in my mom's church. I grew up in a Pentecostal church. So my mom, we were in Huntsville, Alabama, actually Meridian Street. We had a church on Meridian Street.
Wow.
And
okay.
Yeah, right by Lincoln Elementary School. So growing up, that's why I started playing drums. My mom actually still has that drum kit.
That's wild.
Yep. Wow. Drums, violins, my second instrument. I started playing violin when I was 8. Drums, violin, clarinet. I started playing when I was 11, and I played that for up until I was 16, and then I picked up the saxophone. And I was trained by Mr. Mancini, who used to play with Sammy Davis Jr. Whoa. He had a music shop that was across the street from my school in Niceville, Florida. So that's like the start of like my music creation. But I've been writing songs since I was 11, and I've been making beats since I was 8 on tape. Like that's just
okay.
I don't know why.
What do you mean when you don't know why?
I mean, like, I never saw anybody do that. You know what I mean? Other than
Mm,
it being like just something that's in me. I wasn't around anybody making beats on tape. Like, it was something that I figured out or decided I wanted to do. And then when I turned 11, I started writing full songs because my mom, her twin sister is a gospel singer.
mm.
So she did like big choirs in the 90s and stuff like that, live recordings and all type of stuff. So I was always around that.
Okay. So, needless to say, music is in your blood.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's interesting. So, let me ask you this: like, when you grow up with music that far ingrained into you,
Hmm.
I guess what other aspects of artistry has that bled into? Let me give an example. I've interviewed musicians before, but they've also expressed that they have an interest in sewing or they have an interest in painting. Like, are there any other form of the arts that I guess music became like the gateway into?
Um, I guess to an extent, I don't know about it being necessarily a gateway. I think music always became a way I could express myself because I was a very shy child. Like
Mm.
I was always very shy, always bubbly. Like I like to hug people. My mom was like, "You can't hug everybody, Gina," and I would like run up to my teachers, hug everybody. You know what I mean? I was the kid that had like the hair on my clothes from like hugging all everybody. You know what I mean? Um,
Right.
I didn't have any. I didn't discriminate. It was just love. Wherever I saw love or where I saw people being positive. But I I am an artist, so music is just one of the elements of me for sure.
Mm.
I did theater all through school. So like I did
Mm.
drama, I did musical theater from like elementary school all the way through high school. Um I was in all of the like clubs for music and art. Um I didn't get into like I got into graphic design like later on. But music in high school was music, and then I picked up photography. Well, I'm sorry. I picked up photography when I was in elementary school. So I was like in the fourth grade when I started photography.
Man.
Um, yeah, like my brother brought me this uh, camera from like, I don't know where it was from, but I asked my mom to give me some film and I started taking pictures. I actually developed a roll of film that was like 20 years old last year
Whoa. Were you
from my
surprised by what you
childhood.
found?
Yeah, it was actually pictures from like fourth grade. Me and my friends like hanging out at school and stuff. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah,
That's do you remember like the phenomenon back then was to like the time capsules where you would bury those time capsules? I feel like
yeah,
that is a personification of that.
definitely. It was definitely like a time capsule. It blew my mind. I'm like 38 next month.
Right.
So being 36, I think when I developed it, it being like, whoa, like, wait a minute. This is like 30 plus years ago, you know what I mean? Like, or 30
Yeah.
years ago almost. Yeah, it's definitely, it felt good. I mean, I'm a historian, I feel like, so I have photos all the way back to elementary school where my teachers would give me their photos, like from field trips and stuff like that. So I have a lot of photos, lots of pictures, but creatively, I feel like music definitely opened my mind. And then I was also into theater with my mom too, because my mom uh used to do plays, like inspirational plays and stuff like that.
Mhm.
She had like a community outreach that she did and stuff real heavy. And she ran churches, so I was always doing some type of theater plays, playing a role in those things, and then writing monologues and stuff. I actually competed, got medals, was put in the newspaper for monologues
Oh,
for acting. Back in the early 2000s for like AXO, AXO
Oh man.
competitions, NAACP.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Art's been around my life. I also I do so. Um, I'm I'm actually preparing myself to get to creating my moo line because I want to do a line for line of moo for Black women
Okay.
from a Black woman out the South.
I like that.
Yeah, because I don't know. I feel like we are afraid. Society has made us feel like everything got to be fake. And,
Mm-hmm.
the Black woman can't be, or the woman in general, whether Black, white, Puerto Rican, Asian, you know what I'm saying? We got other cultures too, but I'm just saying. Um, it's not sexy for us to walk out the door how we are.
Mm.
That's what society says, at least.
I understand.
But being a woman in itself is sexy. Just existing, like the essence of a woman is something to be attracted to, And so one of my biggest things about my brand is being natural. I really, want people to connect with the natural woman again and
Yeah.
just being organic, authentic. Like I don't have to put loads of makeup on. If I decide to put on makeup that day, that should be okay. That's cool.
Right.
But I shouldn't have to do that for someone to say that I'm beautiful. I shouldn't have to
Ooh.
wear clingy clothes for somebody to say that I'm sexy. If I want to wear a muumuu and walk around without no bra on, it should be just as sexy.
Seconded. I seconded fully. Fully. And embrace the real you,
Mm-hmm.
and I honestly feel like it's most welcome in this day and age where being fake is the it. And listen, I grew up seeing these things as a kid, and now seeing the fake stuff being treated like it's the real thing, I feel
Mm-hmm.
is an insult to the human anatomy. It's like, why are you advertising this lie on your body? Like the most sacred thing that God gave you. You just chose to lie on. You know what I'm saying?
You
You
gonna lie on
basically
your
said,
booty.
right, right,
You know what I'm saying? Why you gonna lie on your booty? The
right,
Lord gave you the booty you got,
right.
and you gonna lie on it. No, we
Mm,
ain't doing that. I would have changed that for the next generation. You know, I do.
you do that, accomplish that. I speak that with you. So
Thank you.
let's delve into these beats though, because I did go to your Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I went to that link tree. I was like, okay, let me see what she got up in here. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what's what. So, what got you into producing?
I always wanted to be a producer since I was a little girl. Like I said, I started making beats at 8. I used to
Mm,
take a tape player and I begged my mom to buy me these little mini keyboards. So I had like a Yamaha and I had a Casio. It's
uh,
2 keyboards, and I would like start a beat on one and let the beat go, and then I would start up the other one, and play keys on top of it or whatever. And
okay, okay,
I
layers. I
did
see
that
you.
for yeah, and then I started like continuing. I actually never wanted to be an artist. I've always wanted to just be a producer. But when I was 11, I realized that nobody was going to listen to 11-year-old tell them like, let me make you some beats or let me write you a song. So I was like, okay, so if I learn the skill sets, all of the skill sets, and I apply it to myself, like I can show people this is what I'm capable of doing. So I became an artist to show people that I can produce.
Mm, okay, okay. You were essentially showing them the door into you. You know,
Absolutely.
I think that's dope because I think when it comes to artistry, I think so many people start you out in one category, not realizing that there's so much more to you than that just introductory, phase you may have known. I
Yep.
may introduced you into my side hustle, not my, my primary skill. So I feel that. I feel that, you know. All
Yep.
right.
It's, the color spectrum. A mother color. Mother color is the, 'cause, you know, it's, 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 the color spectrum. A mother color. Mother color is the It's the only woman, the black woman is the only woman that can create any color person or
Yes.
human. So human, right? Color, man,
Mhm.
mother color is the mother of all colors, and she has the color spectrum, right?
Mhm.
Which is my company, the LLC, the color spectrum, and inside of the color spectrum, you have Mother's Kitchen because that's where she feeds everybody from.
Mm, I fuck with it. I like the vibe. I like it. I like it. You just sold the shit out of that. Good stuff.
Thank
Good
you,
stuff.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. So let's talk about what it means to be an artist. Let's talk about, these years of producing content. What obstacles have you encountered along the way up to this point of becoming an artist?
Hmm.
Whether it be self-doubt, because I'm gonna be transparent with you. As a content creator, artist, poet, I second guess a lot of my movements. I anytime I complete something, I'm immediately my own critic. I will be transparent enough to say I don't take enough time to celebrate the fact that I completed something
Hmm.
before I start critiquing it myself. But I wanted to know specifically with you, what are some of the uh, obstacles pretty much you encountered being an artist? What are some of the things you deal with when creating?
Whew. Specifically in artistry, I'm not even gonna talk about my personal life because I have had. If I told you, you wouldn't believe me, right? Like some of
Mm,
the things that have happened in my life, in general, but uh, specific to artistry, self doubt is always a thing. Like being a female in the
mm,
industry, um, and then being a female with children, like that's a whole nother dynamic. Um, and being a boss, like
mm,
being the type of person who knows the business. Like I knew the business way before I stepped into the business because I studied it. Because my aunt told me like, "Oh, people shady. Like you got to know what you're doing." So I gained more knowledge than my aunt did on the
mm,
business when I stepped into it, and it was like, okay, so I'm about my business. If y'all want me to come in, then I need paperwork. But
right.
nobody was doing contracts. Like nobody. Like no studio I've
Mm,
ever been in has handed me an agreement or a receipt saying that, oh well, you came here and recorded this here. You know what I mean? Like
all right.
that's never been a thing. Independently, you have to get it out the mud. And so I've dealt
Mm,
with people trying to steal my music or say that they wrote my songs or wrote something that I've done. After like offering me to come in and work. Um Mainly it's a lot of sexism. Like for me, you
mm,
know, I deal with a lot of misogyny. I put it like that, and men being sexist. It's like you would never handle him like that or any of those guys, and they have half of my skill set, and you disrespecting me. I'm automatically a female dog if I say this is a boundary, or if I say
mm,
no. You know what I'm saying? Like no,
right.
I've seen people pull cocaine out the wall, you know what I'm saying, in Mali and say, hey, out of safe, like, hey, you wanna, like, what? I don't even use drugs. Like, I'm good.
Man.
I'm good. No, you know what I'm saying? And I've been in some of the biggest studios. I've been in $1 million studios. I've turned down contracts from major labels as an artist and as a producer. And that's probably the hardest part because you need that funding to keep going. You need support to keep going rather.
Right.
So I think that's my biggest thing is like not really caring about the vision of everybody else and how they think things should be and how they think I should operate, and caring about my vision and sticking to that vision because I've always had it since I was a little girl. It's never changed. I just didn't know what all it would take for me to become the boss or the woman that I am. And it's an evolution, you know? just keeps going.
Man, you said a mouthful there, and I would love to one day kind of hear more about your experiences in dealing with sexism, you know, in the music industry, because I feel like you have an interesting dynamic where not only are you dealing with sexism, but you're dealing with sexism while being black. So I feel like that's a whole nother spectrum. See what I did there? Of experiences that you can speak to. So,
Oh, most definitely. And being a queer woman don't help at all.
oh man, look here. You want to know what's interesting?
What?
I as someone who's straight,
Mm-hmm.
for a long time I was ignorant of the plight
Mm-hmm.
because it never, I felt if it didn't apply to me, it wasn't offensive,
Right.
and I'm glad I grew out of that because one of my great friends came out, while we were pledging, one of my fraternity brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, people created a line, but after a while, I was like, you know what? This is just the same person. And the fact that they, felt comfortable enough to tell me this really doesn't change anything.
Right.
So our relationship didn't change.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this keen awareness that appears now
Mm-hmm.
that you become aware of, where I then started to see how, what's the word? I want to say volatile situations get, how conscious you have to be of your environment when you're within that community. And
Absolutely.
I had no clue, to the point where I ain't gonna lie, I'm one of the people, I started over apologizing for stuff
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do, but it was just like I felt so bad for the experience that this person was getting just for existing.
Right.
So that makes it even tougher because it's just casual bits of hate that people spew like it's nothing.
Oh,
And
definitely.
then you get taken aback by it.
Mm-hmm.
And you get looked at like you're weird. I'm like, no, bro, did you hear what you just said?
Did you hear what you just said? Like that just came out of your mouth, and that was very offensive. If it was your daughter or your son or
Mm-hmm.
your family member, you would feel some type of way. Like definitely, definitely has been like a weird thing for me. And for me, I don't really like, I say queer, but I was just told that that's like in Cincinnati, places that have been okay with uh rights of those who are not stereotypical,
Mm-hmm.
like they have been, they said queer is a bad term, but someone coming out of the South and queer just being accepted, kind of, sort of,
Right.
it's like, oh, well, queer is a good term for people who are different, who
Right.
don't necessarily I like fit. But I don't really like titles. I got two kids, obviously.
Right.
um some people, I feel like that's a thing, some women who decide to cross the fence or feel like they, came here this way or whatever, because everybody got a different story. I don't really identify with like the certain communities and things of that nature just because of some of the
Okay.
things that they are okay with. I'm not
Right.
okay with pedophilia, and I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
support that. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I don't really attest to a lot of like groups and things of that nature because a lot of them have, having a Kanye moment,
That's all right.
they have standards that are European standards. They're not standards
Mm,
for African American women or people in general. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
I feel you. I feel
yeah,
you.
they will support somebody that does not look like me that's in that community, but something happens to me and I'm a part of that community, I might not get support the same way,
Right.
so I don't attest to any of that. I don't attest to any boxes, you know what I mean? And plus I come out of the church. So coming out of the church in the South, that was like definitely frowned upon. Pentecostal at that. I grew up with no makeup, no pants, no.
Oh man.
And I was like
I'm
super into the church though. I was like Jesus freak, like DC talk, like yeah. You know what I'm saying? Shouting, speaking in tongues, rolling on the floor type, you know.
right.
But and also I met some really nice people that weren't Christian, and some of them were agnostic or atheist or Buddhist or whatever, and they
Mm-hmm.
showed me the same love of God, right?
Talk.
That that some of it I did not experience in the church or from Christians who are supposed to be agape love, you know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
I just, over the years, I mean, because I consider myself agnostic too. I don't
Okay.
consider myself religious. I'm spiritual. Like I'm connected to spirit. I know enough to know that I don't know enough. Or I
Okay.
know enough to know that I know enough that I'll never know it all. And that I can never judge anybody else for what they believe.
Respect.
And that is
Respect.
all the same. Once you break it down, most of the core values of most religions, are the same.
I'm
So who
snapping
am
right
I
now.
to tell somebody, oh, because you don't believe that Jesus is the end all be all, that you're going to hell or you're damned for the rest of your life? Like I am not God, so I can't do that,
Right.
And I connect with humans, man. Like some people don't have the same background or same upbringing, so I'm gonna judge you or not interact with you because you don't have the same beliefs as me. Nah, I'm good.
I fuck with that heavy, man. As somebody who's grew up apostolic, I'm
Mm.
very much familiar with the lifestyle you're talking about. Yeah.
And I'm a PK. Well, you know it
Oh
was
man. Oh man.
church 5 days a week.
Man, look, for at least 6 hours a day, bro. Who is you telling? Who is
8 p.m. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Why are we still? I'm sleep under the pew. I'm
oh
under the
God.
pew. Sleep. Like we
Knocked
didn't
out.
prepare for this. We already know.
Look,
That's the culture.
and I'm still hungry. I want to know where we're
Still
going to eat after this.
red leaf sausages at the church. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up, man.
Though I say people can't never, no matter where I go, because I started off as a Christian hip hop artist when I first came out with music, and I lost a lot of my fan base because I decided to come out of the box, not my sexuality or anything. I was just like, I don't want to be called a Christian hip hop artist no more. Like I'm making music. Some of the songs I'm making, I had an opportunity to work up in Atlanta with Outkast at one point, right?
Dope.
One of my engineers was working up there, and I got a nice amount of connections in the industry itself. I just am not an industry person, and I recognized that a long time ago. I passed on opportunities to other people, you know what I'm saying, and let other people take on opportunities or whatever, and just chose what was going to work for me or wasn't going to work for me. Me being a single parent of two boys who are autistic and, they need extra support, I chose to spend time homeschooling them and, other things that,
Right.
a little bit more money, a lot more money would help, but it wouldn't if I'm not present either way, whether it's corporate America or whether it's the industry itself. Your soul can be sucked. Like
Straight up.
and I'd rather have my soul. So when people experience me, they actually feel me. I actually change something for them. They don't forget me. You know what I'm saying? They don't forget the experience. That's more valuable than money for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I feel that 1,000,000%, especially with doing interviews like this. I'm able to connect with people in an intimate setting in a way where there's no pressure. Like that's the other thing. It's with dealing with boxes like we have been religiously. You're taught to dance around different topics. You're taught to behave a certain way because that's how a Christian behaves. That's how, blah, 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 blah. But then the instant you see behind that mirror, behind the instant that curtain is peeled back and you see the reality of what the world is, you're like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go find out the truth on my own, big dog.
I'm gonna need this because I just saw this, and this, and it kind of makes this not line up so much. So,
right?
Am I gonna believe you, or am I gonna search and study to show myself approved,
like you
Scripture
told
says?
me to? Yeah, like you told me to. You know what I'm saying?
Come through,
and how,
come through.
bruh, I got so many stories of asking about interpretations. I'll just leave it at that. I was like, but that's your interpretation. And I got in so much trouble. But anyway,
Nah, I feel you. I feel that 100%. Same. I mean, well, my boys names are Hebrew. My oldest son's name is Jeshua Demetrius, and my youngest son is Shemuel Moshe, which is Hebrew for Samuel Moses. And just so happened he has a speech impediment where he couldn't talk. He has an auditory processing disorder. Yeah, he just started talking recently, actually. And he'll be 13 this month.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I named him Moses, right?
Right. That's crazy. That's crazy. So to those of you that missed that, because I feel like I'm gonna have to explain that to somebody. To those of you who aren't so versed in the Bible, Moses had a speech impediment. And that was one of the reasons he was so afraid to speak for God. He was like, but I have this issue. And God was like, man, just do what I said, bro. I got you.
This talk, bro. He asked you to do nothing miraculous, but he like, this is miraculous.
Right. Just get up there and talk, fam. I got you.
Wow. Yeah.
Hey, low key, isn't that like a metaphor within itself, though? Like, how many times have we been like, well, I feel like I'm not equipped because I have this issue. And then God just like, but I ain't asked you that, though. You feel me? Like, how many times has God have been like, I ain't asked you that. Just do this.
That's a regular. The faith is the faith walk, Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Yeah. Like, you can't see it. I just got through telling one of my homies that yesterday. It's like, I can't see everything, but I feel I'm at peace. Like, I know that everything's gonna be okay because things are working together for my good. I don't have to walk in a church to know that knowledge, though.
Right.
Because it's if you believe it. Right. So when God say do X, Y, and Z, or spirit tell you do X, Y, and Z, you feel it in your anahata. You know what I'm saying? Your heart chakra. You when you listen, things line up. And I don't know if you are like me, but when I don't listen to my innate nature, what spirit is telling me to do, stuff is chaotic. Like, things get out of control, and I'm learning how to just listen and be okay with what I heard. It may sound crazy, it may look wild to people, but it ain't about them. It's about my relationship with the Creator.
Straight up, that obedience factor is something else.
Look at us being the children of the Lord.
Man, look at us, gang.
So retrograding.
Man, look, hating hard.
Let's see. But it be my life, though. I try not to just be frustrated about anything at this point, because the way stuff happens in my life, it's like a test. I know I had to have no patience in my past life, because this life, I've been forced to have patience. And it's sometimes annoying, but I just, keep it moving or what have you.
No sweat.
Let me feel like my device was overheating.
Oh
Don't tell
no.
nobody. Yeah, it's just out of the blue though. This is the thing. I haven't been on my phone even all afternoon really, and it just started. I guess that's where the sound was coming from, trippy sound.
Ah.
I guess technology, but I got an ice pack on it.
Oh,
We
okay. Make
country,
it work. Make it happen.
so we
Look,
good.
look, this was crazy. Is we've cleared all but two of my questions. Like we literally down to the
Word.
last two.
Okay, cool.
Mhm. Just through passing
Okay, cool.
conversation, you've actually been answering my questions.
That's dope. That's dope.
So since we on the ice pack, I'm gonna ask you my long term question. Now, this question I love because it lets me see how far ahead you see yourself. It allows me to step in your shoes for just a moment. So, Mother Color, where would you like to see
Mm-hmm.
yourself as an artist, as a family person, as an entity, as a musician, as a producer? Where would you like to see yourself in 1 year, in 3 years, and then in 10 years?
Oh, this is gonna be saucy to go back to in a little bit
Yeah.
because in a year I plan on. you know, I have my own rolling papers, right? So
Oh, cool.
I have a pack. I have some organic hemp rolling papers called Mother's Ether rolling papers.
Hmm.
Um, I actually just recently sold my last pack. From my set of like beta papers, just to kind of see how people responded to them, how they
Yeah.
liked them. They're more just like up the raw papers vibe because they're organic hemp papers. And
Mhm.
then I have my chakra bands, which are my you know, that brand in itself is like product. So in the next year, I into his own company because I've used that as merchandise up until this point.
Okay.
To line up with some of my other products, like designs that I do since I do design work. So all of the stuff you see on my website, I built it, everything,
Mm.
um, and I designed everything, all my logos, everything except for there's a couple things I didn't design, but I told them exactly what I wanted. I'm very specific. I'm a visionary, so when I see things, I see them vividly. I read faster than I can say. You know what I mean? My brain's like so. Everything I do is in pictures, and in the next year for sure, I plan on Mother's Ether being like one of the top well known, the first female owned rolling paper company out of the South.
Okay. Okay. I can see it.
Because I don't know any other female companies. And then you said three. Well, that's the next year as an artist and for my brand and my talk show as well. The next year, I feel like I usually do that every Monday, but I'm on break until the spring. I was gonna wait till January, but I'm on break till the spring. That's where the new year is for me. That'll
Okay.
be one of my major things. So I feel like the end of 2023, I'll be eating a buzz. Like buzz will be like I'm gonna have to turn off my devices for my plan that I have coming.
Oh,
In
okay.
order to have a break.
I I I, I
Uh,
feel
3
that.
years. Okay, so in 3 years, let me just plan on female producers and entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs out of the South in general. I don't even know if I want to be seen as an artist per se, but more of an entrepreneur. That's like I love business. I build
Mhm.
a lot of companies behind the scenes. I work with a lot of brands behind the scenes, specifically businesses created by Black women. So I support a lot in the background, like websites, branding, I do a lot of consulting. That's where I make most of my money at, is doing those types of things. So I'm connected to a lot of brands. I have partnerships and companies and stuff like that. So I feel like in the next 3 years, I could see a real blossoming. Like I'll be financially in a space where I don't really have any worries, from the work that I put in the next year, based upon the work that I put in my whole life, type of thing. In 10 years, I feel like that's a culmination of that. By that time, I'll have my art center. I always wanted to have a actual production studio, like a physical studio, big boy studio. In 10 years, I see myself as the black female Rick Rubin. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, snap. I love it. I love
That's
it.
how I see myself. So I see people come into a space out in the middle of nowhere to come in and like find themselves, or like find peace. Creatives, artists, entrepreneurs. Those people would be coming to my space, to Mother's Kitchen, to eat and to be fed spiritually and physically. So there will be a restaurant because I cook so good, and yeah, there'll be a solid like production studio and a space for people to come to for extended amounts of times and to stay on the property. That's like the plan.
I love it. I love it. I look forward to, like we said, when we catch back up and like, next year or in a couple years, and you're like, yo, I done marked off, X, Y, and Z off the list. So, I'm down to only one more thing, All I ask is, when you blow up, just remember me. That's all I ask. You know what I'm saying? Let me come out to the compound.
Absolutely. Definitely gonna remember you. I'm excited. For sure,
Facts.
for sure. We'll do an interview. I keep it real.
100, 100. So that's gonna bring me to my final question. And this question is the one I dedicate to everybody that's listening.
Okay.
Look, you was saying too much real stuff, man. The retrograde was like, nah, I'm finna hate.
They do be like that every time. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised I didn't realize that it was gonna be today. I probably would have been like, no interviews until after retrograde. I tell people stuff like that. I think a lot of times people think I'm really weird because of how I interact. But most of the time I'm like, depending on the alignment of the stars, the planets, like astrological alignment and the seasons, I move based upon that because that's how God moves. Like if we really want to be in tune, we should be in tune with how God set things up. You know what I mean?
Period. I feel that. Shoot. So, because it cut out a bunch of what you were saying because it was going in and out. So, like I was saying, the hardest thing to do, of course, is to take an idea and run with it. What words of encouragement do you have for that person?
Fear is the opposite of love. Quoted by Erykah Badu. I'm sure she got it from somewhere, but fear is the opposite of love because if you're afraid, you can't really do what you love. You leave the elements that fulfill you out. But if you work towards the things that make you feel the most fulfilled, then you will feel better. Like there are holes and gaps that you cannot fill up by being afraid. And if you are afraid, you never know if you can do it. It's like, okay, well, I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid to step into this next stage. I'm afraid to step into this next place. I'm afraid to try it. But if you never try, you never know. And if it's in your soul, fulfill that, or you're going to always feel a void. So, and there's no amount of money that can fill the void of you feeling like you're not fulfilling your purpose, not doing what's in your soul to do, uh, and the journey, right? Our journey, our purpose, our destiny is definitely a journey, not a destination. So if you stop looking at it as I'm headed to this place at this time, because a lot of times we have the timing of man, not of God. You feel me? So the universe may say, okay, this is the plan, and you got to go through this stuff, this stuff, this stuff. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. You have to go through all of these steps. So the universe has 7 steps maybe for us, and we looking at 2. Like if I do this and that, I'll be good. You know, and you could be, but you could be better if you take all 7 steps. So you can't be afraid, because you never know what your time is. And if you don't fulfill your purpose, if you're not doing the things that you love, you'll always have that void. And coming from somebody that's dealt with mental, emotional, physical, sexual abuse, domestic violence, homelessness, like if I didn't do the things that I was most passionate about, I would lose my mind. There's not a piece of money that could fix those things. You feel me? Music is my therapy. Art is my therapy. So for everybody, do what you love.
I feel that, man. I'm glad you shared that, man. Now, Mvtha Cvla, if anybody wanted to follow you, wanted to support you, or just see what you got going on coming up, what's the best way to follow you?
The best way is going straight to my portal and my hub, because I don't own Instagram and I don't own Facebook, and they're not going to give me your email address. So www.motherskitchen.com.
I love it.
Shameless plug, but if you go to motherskitchen.com, you'll find everything that involves me. You download my app, then you'll get exclusive content as well.
Oh, snap. I'm going to have to put that on the phone.
That's easy.
Mvtha Cvla, it's been a pleasure having this interview with you. Ever since I heard you at your last performance, man, I was captivated. You hear me?
Thank you. I appreciate that. You gotta tell me what you felt about that. Like, what was the most captivating for you? What did you appreciate? Because people usually stare at me. Usually, I'm gonna tell you my experience. I'm gonna say this. Okay. Usually, when I perform, people usually I can tell people are taking it in. Right. And their response sometimes is like delayed. It's like a delayed reaction or a delayed response. So I never really know. Some people will tell me for sure, like, you changed my life. I'll get those like, hey, this was crazy. But then I'm like, I don't know, like, because I don't know where I fit. I'm very eclectic. So in the South, I don't see nobody doing the type of stuff I do, but I do want to expand more into my fan base and like figure out what is it that people love about my art? What is it that they connected with?
I'll be completely honest with you. That day I had a day. I was battling within myself, attending 2 events that I wanted, to make sure my face was seen at. And hearing you perform gave me a stillness that I needed. I'm one of those people whose mind is always moving a mile a minute, especially when there's something going on in the background. And just for a few minutes, I got to just chill. You felt like incense for the soul. Like you calmed an anxious piece of me where I was at my most frustrated. So look, I can't sing your praises high enough, because I was like, all right, I'm just gonna pop my head in here, show my face, and I'm gonna slide. Man, I smooth sat down.
Yes. Oh, I give thanks. I give so much thanks. So many thanks, because that's what I want. I just want to leave an experience behind. I want people to connect for real. Like, I want to erase some problems for some people because I know it feels like to have a heavy load. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I could just erase a couple people's like bad experiences, like I would. You know, I know that I'm not God, right? In the format of what I was trained that God is, right, as a child. But if I could just, and I'm trying not to cry because that's how emotional, that's how serious it is, how real it is for me, you know?
Right.
If I feel like I've been through so many things so that I could be that. Because if I hadn't been through some of the stuff I've been through, I wouldn't have the type of empathy or understanding for most human beings and their experiences, you know?
Right. I feel that.
But I feel you. I feel you when you say that. I'm glad I could be there for you. Thank you for taking the time to sit down and listen.
Oh, absolutely. To give credence, you were speaking about your project. I believe it's called Lavender.
Yeah, that's one of my singles that
Yeah.
came from my album called Mothers Need Love Too.
Yes. So it was funny that, you know, that track was called Lavender because that's the one that made me feel like that calming sensation I'm speaking of. So it was like, yo, that's spot on naming right there.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
kudos,
Thank
man.
you.
Kudos.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate you so much for having me too. This means a lot to me. I need that. I needed this today. I really did. More than I can even express verbally. I needed it. I hope you feel that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. For sure. For sure. You damn sure made a fan out of me, man. So I look forward to reconnecting with you. And honestly, I look forward to seeing you perform some more. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I definitely keep you in the loop. You go to the kitchen and subscribe, and I'll make sure to keep you in the loop. And I'll also put you on my list for like podcasters and people for like first interviews. So if I have anything major going on, I'll send you the link. I'll send you the info first.
Awesome.
Any releases, anything, so you have exclusive access.
Hey, I love it. I'm here for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And look, and with that being said, this has been your boy, Sir Mvtha Cvla. Look, go to that website, go get your soul fed, go sit down in the kitchen, kick your feet up, roll one if you got one to roll. Look, just vibe, yo.
That's what I'm gonna do when I get done with this interview. Waiting on my pastor now to pull up with the inspiration.
I heard that, man.
Hey, this is Mystique.
This is Mr. Everlasting.
And this is the Safe Word.
Safe Word. Y'all make sure y'all join us every first and third Friday of the month. Every month. We are in season 3.
Season 3.
Y'all already know what it is, man. Tap in.